Metro Detroit's sports lineage is rooted in a rich history. It's anchored by its passionate and loyal fan base and spearheaded by a winning culture. It's the duty and obligation of the Detroit Sports Commission to ensure that the region put its best sporting foot forward. I had the opportunity to sit down with the Commission's Executive Director, Dave Beachnau, to discover how the Commission is having a positive impact on the sports landscape in the Motor City. Good stuff. So, Dave, I know that the mission of the Detroit Sports Commission is to enhance the local economy and image of the region based on attracting amateur sporting events to the region. So, can you just give me a little bit of a backdrop of what you do here at the Commission and the work you do?
Yeah, well, our overriding mission is to attract sporting events to the region for the economic benefit that they provide. We are, our parent company is the Detroit Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau, so we're a tourism-based organization, and so our role is to attract sporting events of all levels, from grassroots to the Super Bowl, that bring visitors in town that ultimately spend money in our community, stay in our restaurants, and the sports tourism industry is nearly a $5 billion segment of tourism, so you can see it's pretty substantial.
And I know that for you guys that volunteers are a large part of the base or the engine of what you do. So can you tell me about the importance of volunteers for your agency?
Absolutely. We're a lean operation. We have a staff of 4 full-time. In addition to our parent organization, we have employees of nearly 60. So we're able to tap into those resources. But when we host major sporting events, it takes an army, so to speak, to fulfill all the obligations of hosting events like that. So we have a database of volunteers. At one point, it reached nearly 8,000 individuals who had an interest in supporting what we do, and that was really born out of the Super Bowl that we hosted in 2006. So volunteers are critical to the success of our staging and hosting successful events.
And talk to me about the assets that the city has and what makes it an attractive place to host sporting events here in the Metro Detroit region?
Well, first and foremost, Detroit is a sports town, probably one of the greatest, in our opinion, sports towns in the country. With the professional teams we have, the university sports, college sports that we have nearby, we have residents who are passionate about sports, and that translates into ticket sales when it comes to us hosting one-off events that we call it, but probably more importantly are the world-class venues that we have, from Ford Field to Comerica Park to some of the university facilities, and soon to come our hockey arena that will be opening in 2017. Not to mention, we're on an international border, as you all know, and flight capacity into our airport really makes Detroit an attractive destination, not only for national but for international events.
And since Detroit is on an international border crossing, how enticing is it also to get the Canadian support when you host sporting events here in Metro Detroit?
It's very important because Windsor specifically, in our opinion, is an extension of Metro Detroit, or a suburb, and the city, Mayor Francis and Windsor Tourism Bureau have been great partners of ours over the years where we'll collaborate on events. Specifically, we were a partner of theirs in successfully bidding for the FINA World Swimming Championships that will take place in December of 2016. So to be able to have the capacity to have that market to draw fans and ticket buyers and tourism is very important to us.
And tell me, I know that sometimes dispelling the myth or perception of the national perception of Detroit. So could you tell me how important it is to sort of dispel the myth to get people excited about the city?
It's very important because it makes our job easier when we're going out and selling national and international events. It's no secret the image issues that Detroit has had for as long as I've been around, and I've been around a long time, but I've been in my role for nearly 21 years now with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and I've seen a lot of positive and negative things, but I think we're definitely on an upswing. And when you're out pitching your destination to some of these rights holders who can go anywhere in the country, it's very, very important that we use sporting events as a platform to change people's minds and perception of what Detroit really is about. And I think all of us today would say that we're much further along than we were, say, 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. And I think Detroit's starting to turn that corner and being perceived a little bit differently today than they have in the past. But especially in the sports market, again, what I mentioned earlier, we're perceived as a sports town, a great sports destination, whether it's one-off events like the NCAA Final Four that we've hosted, or the World Series, the NBA championships, the Super Bowl. All of those events help raise our profile in a positive way, not only domestically but internationally as well.
And I know here at the Sports Commission, one of your signature events is the Prep Kickoff Classic, and I know that's near and dear to your heart. So can you tell me about that?
It is. It's very, very close to me. One of the things that we realized that we needed to do 11 or 12 years ago is try to provide an opportunity for our local athletes to compete in the big stage. Too often and so many times, the events that we attract here are for athletes from someplace other than Detroit. A very small percentage participate in events that we host, again going back to our mission, which is driving tourism.
Mm-hmm.
And so...
You okay?
Yeah, my foot just... We're good.
We're good?
Okay.
Okay.
And so we came up with this concept of developing a high school event. And high school football in Michigan is large. It's popular. It's received very favorably and followed by many schools, communities. So 10 years ago, we created the Prep Kickoff Classic for the first time at Wayne State, or at Eastern Michigan University. We had a good run there 7 years and ultimately moved it to Wayne State 3 years ago. But it's our way of giving back to the community, giving student athletes an opportunity to play on a big stage in a college bowl-like atmosphere, we call it, allowing the bands and the cheerleaders and all the fans to really come together and celebrate what's great about high school athletics. But we're there to play football, but it's all these other activities are a byproduct for the event itself.
And finally, Dave, can you just forecast for me what do you think the future of the sports tourism industry is here in the Motor City?
Well, I think it's very favorable. If you look around the country, there's one thing that we've always said about sports tourism, and it's recession-proof. When we were going through those hard times back in 2007, 8, and 9, one thing that doesn't change is sports tourism. If you have children who participate in travel sports, that's the last thing that their parents going to tell them that they can't do is travel to a tournament over a weekend or a longer period of time. And so sports tourism in Detroit will continue to increase, I believe. I think our future lies in some more international opportunities. We saw with our partnership with Windsor that Detroit could be a great destination for international events. We also feel that we'll continue to be in the rotation and the mix for NCAA championships, and the fact that our new arena will open in 2017, we think that opens a door for many other opportunities, including the World Junior Hockey Championships, which all the Canadians know about, NHL All-Star Game, and many others. So the future is certainly bright here in Detroit.
And just one more follow-up for you, Dave. How important is it for the local teams to be successful? How more easier does that make your job if the local sports teams are successful?
When the sports teams are successful, it brings recognition and a spotlight on the city of Detroit, obviously. When the Tigers made the World Series, and to have international broadcast here in Detroit, and all the lead-ins to the broadcast with showcasing the riverfront and the cityscape, I think only lends favorably to us being able to market Detroit as that destination. So while it's not ultimately what needs to happen, I think playing off of that success certainly helps us do our job better.
Well, Dave, I appreciate your time this morning, and I wish you best of luck in making sure that Detroit puts their best sporting foot forward.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
For the Two Man Advantage podcast, I'm Kevin McShan.